In an age dominated by consumerism and the relentless pursuit of success, there exists a silent, almost invisible deception that seeps into every corner of modern life. This deception, both profound and pervasive, is the belief that happiness can be found through external pleasures, money, power, success, and indulgence. Alain de Botton, a contemporary philosopher who has devoted much of his life to exploring the human condition, argues that we are trapped in a cycle of desire and disillusionment, forever seeking happiness in places where it simply cannot be found. In his works, de Botton examines how modern society has conditioned us to associate happiness with achievement and pleasure. His observations resonate deeply with an ancient truth: pleasure is not happiness. Pleasure, fleeting and fragile, teases us with momentary joy, but quickly fades, leaving us empty and unsatisfied. True happiness, as de Botton emphasizes, is not a state of external acquisition, but one of internal stability and contentment. In his book, The Architecture of Happiness, Alain de Botton eloquently explores the ways in which we seek joy in the external world, particularly through material possessions and achievements. We believe that a larger house, a more prestigious job, or a luxury vacation will bring lasting happiness. Yet, despite achieving these milestones, the sense of contentment is often short-lived. De Botton highlights how modern culture has led us to constantly strive for more, yet the more we seek is a mirage, always just out of reach. This endless cycle of seeking and disappointment is the core of the modern human experience. Consider someone who works tirelessly to climb the corporate ladder, believing that the next promotion will be the key to their happiness. When they finally attain it, they celebrate briefly, but the joy is quickly replaced by the familiar restlessness that sends them chasing the next goal. It's as though happiness is perpetually just around the corner, never fully within reach. De Botton's philosophy sheds light on this phenomenon. He explains that our society glorifies material success and sensual pleasures as the ultimate sources of fulfillment, leading us to equate happiness with momentary highs. These fleeting moments, however, never last. As the philosopher himself notes, we often confuse what we think will make us happy with what actually does. We become trapped in a cycle of desires that fail to sustain us. This brings us to an important distinction that de Botton urges us to recognize: the difference between pleasure and happiness. Pleasure is volatile and dependent on external factors, while happiness is an internal state of being. Pleasure is like the surface of the ocean, subject to waves and storms. It comes and goes, never lasting long enough to provide true fulfillment. Happiness, on the other hand, is like the ocean's depths, calm, steady, and unaffected by external events. De Botton's approach to understanding happiness aligns with the ancient philosophical tradition, which teaches that true contentment arises not from external circumstances, but from a stable inner life. In a world obsessed with instant gratification, we are conditioned to seek pleasure, assuming that the next purchase, the next achievement, or the next relationship will bring lasting joy. But once these moments pass, we are left feeling hollow, unsure of why the satisfaction was so brief. Happiness, as de Botton argues, does not depend on external validation or sensory indulgence. It is a deeper, more stable state of being that can only be accessed by cultivating an inner life rooted in reflection, emotional intelligence, and mental clarity. The real danger is when we mistake temporary pleasures for lasting happiness and spend our lives chasing what can never truly fulfill us. One of the greatest obstacles to happiness, according to both de Botton and ancient philosophers, is the overwhelming power of negative emotions. In his book, The Course of Love, de Botton delves into the human experience of relationships, exploring how emotions like jealousy, pride, and anger can cloud our perception and distort our understanding of happiness. These emotions, he argues, not only disrupt our relationships with others, but also sabotage our relationship with ourselves. Take jealousy, for instance. De Botton points out how modern society feeds our insecurities by constantly showcasing the successes of others. Social media, with its endless stream of curated perfection, exacerbates these feelings of envy, We begin to compare ourselves to others, feeling as though we are in constant competition. This comparison robs us of our peace of mind, leading us to believe that happiness lies in surpassing others or in obtaining what they have. Similarly, anger, another potent emotion, blinds us to the reality of situations. De Botton suggests that anger often arises from a place of deep insecurity or fear of vulnerability. When we allow these emotions to take hold, we lose clarity, and our actions become driven by impulse rather than reflection. In moments of anger or jealousy, we lash out, causing harm to ourselves and others, further distancing us from the inner peace that is necessary for happiness. De Botton advises that instead of suppressing these emotions or letting them run rampant, we must develop a greater awareness of their roots. By understanding where these emotions come from and how they shape our thoughts and actions, we can begin to dismantle their hold over us. Emotional awareness, he argues, is the first step toward freeing ourselves from the tyranny of negative emotions and moving toward a state of genuine happiness. Throughout his work, de Botton emphasizes the importance of compassion and wisdom in achieving true happiness. These two qualities, he argues, are like the twin pillars that support a meaningful life. Compassion allows us to connect with others on a deep human level, while wisdom helps us navigate life's complexities with clarity and insight. In his book, Religion for Atheists, de Botton suggests that while many people may not follow a traditional religious path, the moral and philosophical teachings of religion still offer valuable lessons. One of these is the practice of compassion. Genuine compassion, according to de Botton, is not about feeling superior to others or pitying them from a distance. Instead, it is about recognizing our shared humanity and extending kindness and understanding to others as if we were in their shoes. In this way, compassion dissolves the barriers that separate us, allowing us to experience a deep sense of connection and empathy. But de Botton also cautions against unchecked compassion, which can lead to emotional exhaustion if not balanced by wisdom. Without wisdom, compassion may cause us to take on the suffering of others without the tools to manage it, leaving us overwhelmed and unable to help. Wisdom, then, acts as a guiding force, helping us understand when and how to act with compassion in a way that is both sustainable and effective. De Botton likens wisdom and compassion to the wings of a bird. Both are necessary for true happiness and transformation. Compassion opens our hearts, while wisdom keeps us grounded, preventing us from being consumed by the world's pain. Together, these qualities lead to a profound inner shift, allowing us to navigate life with grace and purpose. For de Botton, spirituality is not confined to religious practice or moments of meditation. Instead, it is something that can and should be integrated into everyday life. He argues that the real test of happiness lies in how we respond to the challenges of daily existence, not in how serene we feel during moments of solitude. Whether we're stuck in traffic, dealing with a difficult coworker, or navigating a family argument, these moments offer the perfect opportunity to practice patience, reflection, and self-awareness. In his book, Religion for Atheists, de Botton explores how the wisdom of ancient philosophers can be applied to the trials and tribulations of modern life. Stoic philosopher Seneca, for instance, advised that we should remain calm in the face of adversity, understanding that external events are beyond our control. De Botton expands on this idea, suggesting that every stressful encounter, whether it's an argument with a partner or frustration at work, can be seen as an opportunity to grow emotionally and spiritually. By incorporating philosophical principles into everyday situations, we can transform even the most mundane aspects of life into moments of self-improvement. De Botton encourages us to pause before reacting, to observe our emotional responses, and to make conscious choices that align with our values and long-term happiness. In this way, life becomes a continuous path of growth, and happiness becomes a byproduct of how we live rather than something we chase. Perhaps one of the most important insights de Botton offers is that the journey to happiness is not a quick fix. In a world obsessed with instant gratification, Many of us expect immediate results from spiritual or emotional practices. But as de Botton reminds us, happiness is a long-term project that requires patience and perseverance. In his book, How Proust Can Change Your Life, de Botton reflects on how the great novelist Marcel Proust found happiness not in major achievements, but in small moments of everyday life. Moments of reflection, connection, and insight. This, de Botton suggests, is where true happiness lies. Not in the grand gestures, but in the daily practice of mindfulness, emotional awareness, and self-compassion. True happiness, as de Botton argues, is not something that can be achieved overnight. It requires a consistent commitment to self-reflection, emotional growth, and the cultivation of wisdom. Like tending to a garden, the mind must be nurtured, and negative emotions must be carefully uprooted to allow the flowers of happiness to bloom. Alain de Botton's philosophy offers a roadmap for navigating the complexities of modern life and finding true happiness. His insights remind us that happiness is not something we can buy, achieve, or consume. It is something we cultivate within ourselves. By breaking free from the illusion of pleasure, taming destructive emotions, and embracing the principles of compassion and wisdom, we can begin to transform our lives from the inside out. The journey to happiness is not easy, nor is it quick, but the rewards, a life of peace, fulfillment, and meaning, are well worth the effort. The question remains, are you ready to take the first step?